And we're back, baby. Full fucking throttle. Boom time. Doing a little boom breakdown. UFC 236. And, of course, the big news in the fucking headlines. TJ Dillashaw fails his drug test prior to his fight. Or I believe it was the in-competition test to his fight against Henry Cejudo for EPO. This is blood doping. This is where you can get an advantage in your oxygen intake and your ability to recover, and of course, your endurance and your ability to perform at a higher level. This raises the question of how long has this guy been using stuff? Can they go back further and further to test other supplements to see if maybe he was taking this back, when USADA first came around? Who knows? These guys can go back and science is improving and they might be able to find out some new stuff. I'm interested to see that. They did go back and test a sample December 28th that was prior to the Henry Cejudo fight, and that sample tested positive as well for the same supplement. Now, here's the problem. They didn't catch that EPO in that prior test, December 28th, because they weren't looking for that. They weren't testing for that. Because of what reason? I don't know. USADA's here to keep a clean sport, and they're proving to us that they're missing things, that things are getting by the system, that things are not popping, that are potentially in samples that are in the past, that we can't go back and change. TJ knocking out somebody else potentially on something, and then we find out later, and then what? The guy made a bunch of paychecks and he's off and happy, and he just has to sit out for 2 years. But are you going to take back his wins? Are you going to, are you going to punish him for what you find from the past? Is that eligible? I don't know. But the fucking Boomachino knows. But I don't know. That shit was crazy. I can't believe it. 2 years. He relinquished his title. Obviously, he knew what he was doing. He didn't fight it. So he pretty much was like, well, you got me. I was doing that and I'm busted and there's nothing I can say. So with that said, the bantamweight division has opened up clearly now. We got Moraes versus Cejudo. That's the clear champion. And then we got Aljamain versus Pedro Munoz that was booked. And that's going to be a number one contender fight. And who knows, man, if I was those guys, I'd stay ready for a 5-round fight. Because if someone gets hurt from Cejudo or Moraes, whoever makes championship weight on that card, Aljo or Pedro, is going to get that fight. So I would stay ready for that just in case. But right now, it looks like a mini tournament going on for UFC 238, I believe it is, June 8th in Chicago. So that's going to be exciting to see, how the bantamweight division is going to play out. They got 2 years now to really let things settle in and play out. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see if Dominic Cruz comes back too, and then he'll have to be thrown in the mix. But with UFC 236 is coming, we got Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. One of the most intriguing fights for me as of late. And then we got Gastelum versus Adesanya. 2 title fights on the line. 2 interim title fights, I should say. And that's making history right there because I don't think that's ever happened. Let's start with Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. In Max Holloway's last fight was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen, to be honest. Ortega was a big prospect on the rise, was finishing guys with big names, and was looking really impressive in there. Max Holloway went in there and just outclassed him on the feet, striking. Didn't allow Ortega to grab a hold of him, get a takedown, and just pretty much mauled him the whole fight with accurate striking, angles, footwork, switching up stances, and a lot of volume in his striking as well. His boxing has come a long way. His striking system, whether it's his coaches or his own creativity, it's some genius shit that Holloway's doing in there. He's hitting strikes, he's hitting combinations in bunches, and he's hitting angles in the middle of these bunches, and he's throwing both from southpaw to orthodox, and as he's moving forward, switching stances and throwing light punches to hard punches, changing up rhythms, changing up power. His speed is very impressive for 145, and I think it might even be more impressive at 155 here against Dustin Poirier. Now, Dustin Poirier is a guy, I think the key in this fight is the fact that Dustin Poirier is a guy that has shown he's able to be hurt in fights. He's got great boxing himself. I would say that he's not as fast as Holloway, but he might have more of a one-power knockout shot. With that said, Poirier's been hurt in some fights. I'm very impressed with the fact that he finished Justin Gaethje. That was amazing. You know, that guy's a savage, and he's not somebody who you finish easily. It takes everything in your tank to finish a guy like that. So, very impressed with Dustin Poirier doing that. But Max Holloway's a way different fighter than Gaethje. He's not a brawler. He's a calculated striker. He's very, very fast. He's long. He's rangy. He might even have a reach advantage. I'm not too sure. He's not that small for 55. You know, he's not going to face a big size advantage. So, in this fight, realistically, taking Max Holloway down is not something that's easy. It's probably not going to happen. I know in the first fight when they fought way back, people like to say, well, Poirier won by submission. He took him down. He mounted triangle. Shut the fuck up, phone. And yeah, but that's when Max Holloway was, you know, making his debut in the UFC. He's made tons of changes in his game. He's become even harder and harder to take down, and he's become way better of a striker as well. And he started out as a good striker, but he's just way more calculated, way more precise now. And I honestly see this fight going for Max Holloway. In my opinion, I feel like Holloway is going to overwhelm Poirier with strikes. I think eventually he's going to tag Poirier enough times where Poirier is like, what the fuck is going on? Kind of similar to what happened with Ortega, but with a little bit more struggle. Because I see Poirier as a little bit more of a, you know, high-level boxer than Ortega is, and also Poirier's movement is pretty good as well. He's not as quick with his footwork, but he's very calculated with his footwork, and he's a southpaw stance, so that's another thing that Holloway has to deal with. But I just see Holloway cutting angles, landing peppered shots, and then landing those hard, crisp right hands down the pipe. That's the way he hurts guys. He's going to bruise them up, and I just don't see Poirier being able to take down Holloway. He looks like his confidence is just sky high on another level, and you know, I think once he gets Poirier hurt, we're going to see Poirier start to back down just a little bit and start to slow down, and Holloway does not slow down. This guy's cardio gets better and better as the fight goes on. He's in there calling rounds, saying, this is the round I'm going to finish this guy. The guy's riding a lot of confidence, man. Finishing Jose Aldo twice like that, and then, you know, finishing Ortega, and he's on quite of a run right now. I don't know how many wins in a row, but it's some crazy shit, so I cannot bet against Holloway right now just based off of seeing his performances and his skill level and what he's able to do to high-level guys. Can't go against him. Poirier is an amazing fighter, and I really like what he's done as of late too, beating Gaethje and beating Alvarez like that, finishing two legends. But Poirier, like I said, he gets hurt. When does Holloway get hurt? We don't see this guy hurt in any of these fights anymore. He's never hurt. He's never wobbled. He's never rocked. He's never checking out of the fight. So it doesn't matter what happens. He'll take some shots in there, but he's going to deliver 10 fucking punches at a high speed ratio if you land one hard shot, you know? So I think that peppering shots, that speed that he comes with, that kind of that Nate Diaz approach where he's just touching you, and then he lands one hard shot. Touching you, lands one hard shot. It's so fucking hard to deal with that shit. So I'm going Holloway, and I think he's going to get it done third round TKO. That's my pick right there. Holloway, third round TKO. Now, Kelvin Gastelum, Israel Adesanya. A lot of hype behind Israel Adesanya. Kelvin Gastelum, though, he's the one that's really fought the top of the division. Let's be honest. He fought guys like Jacare. He fought guys like Weidman. You know, and Israel Adesanya is amazing, and he's very, very skilled. And but he fought Anderson Silva, who's not washed up, I would say, but he's an older Anderson Silva. He beat him by a decision. If he was at the level that he should be, he probably should have finished Anderson Silva. You know, Gastelum's finishing guys. He has crazy power in his hands. He has a lot of speed for the weight class, coming up from 170. You know, now he's making the weight a lot easier, a lot healthier, and his grappling skills are not to be fucked with either. I think, you know, if Gastelum's smart in this fight, he'll threaten the takedown early, and he'll gain the respect of Israel Adesanya, because this is a fancy, tricky guy in there. You need to kind of get the respect and make him think you might take him down. That way your striking is going to be a little bit more successful after that. You know, if you could threaten a couple of level changes and shots on him early on in the first round, that's going to be the key to victory for Kelvin. Getting inside, using feints, using footwork, and level changes. That's going to get Israel Adesanya thinking a little bit. He's going to start to respect him, thinking he might take me down, and then that's when maybe Kelvin Gastelum could land that big left hand. I see that happening in this fight at some point because I think Israel is a guy who likes to get tricky in there. He gets a little cocky in there, and it works against guys that don't have that same aggression and that same power as Kelvin. But I think Israel Adesanya will look good early on, but I think Kelvin's going to find him. You know, Israel's going to touch him up a little bit. He's going to have good movement. He's probably going to be tough to take down. I don't know if Kelvin will get that takedown, but I think he will threaten it if he's smart. And then what I think is going to happen is later on in the rounds, third or fourth round, Kelvin's going to touch him with something, and it's going to hurt him, and it's going to be something he's never been hit with before because Kelvin has crisp striking. We see what he's done to Michael Bisping, put him out with that left hand, crazy combination, and I'm going to have to go with Kelvin Gastelum by TKO in this fight. Other than that, hear the fucking sirens? That's the boom truck right there. I'm going to make some quick picks. I'm going to go down the rest of the card. Fuck, man. Sorry about the sirens in the back. That's fucking devastating to this boom breakdown here, but we got to do it quick. Eric Anders versus Khalil Roundtree. I think Eric Anders is going to be a little bit more calculated with his striking. Hard guy to finish. Khalil Roundtree, big finish against Gokhan Saki, but I think that Eric Anders is going to pull off a decision. Alan Jouban versus Beanie Siegel. I don't even know if that's the guy's real name, but I'm going with Alan Jouban by decision. Ovin St. Preux, Nikita Krylov. Krylov out of the UFC, back in the UFC. He's finishing guys. Ovin St. Preux has been getting finished as of late and not looking as good as he was. He might be starting to fade a little bit. I'm going to go with Nikita Krylov by KO or TKO round 1 or round 2. Let's see what else we got. Going down to the prelims here. Jalen Turner, Matt Frivola. Jalen Turner's a tall, lengthy striker, hard guy to deal with. Frivola's got aggression. He's got movement. He's got cardio. He's a savage in there. I'm going with Matt Frivola by decision. Wilson Hayes versus Alexandra Pantoja. I would say Pantoja is more of a submission artist, but Wilson Hayes is a black belt himself. Hard guy to take down. He's probably the better wrestler, and I think that he's a little bit bigger. I think Wilson Hayes is going to get the decision. Max Griffin versus Zelim Amadiev. I'm going with Max Griffin by decision. Boston Salmon versus Khalid Taha. Boston Salmon's very impressive. He's fast, lethal striker. I've seen him in some of his fights in the past. Of course, his nickname's Boom Boom, and my nickname's Boom. So we got to go with fucking Boom Boom. Boston Salmon, I think he's going to get the TKO victory round 1 or round 2. Guy's going to come out hot out the gate and finish it. Other than that, quick and easy peasy. We'll be back next time. UFC 236. I gotta head to the gym, do a little workout, even though my neck's fucked up. I'm trying to work around it, do some cardio. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, BrianBoom135. If you could give me a thumbs up and a subscription on YouTube, I'd appreciate it. You guys are the best. Boom!